This is KGW News at noon.
And we start with breaking news. A volunteer firefighter is in the hospital critically hurt while fighting a barn fire in St. Paul. The fire caused an explosion this morning that injured the firefighter. Christelle Kumwe joins us live in St. Paul this noon. Christelle, what's the latest?
As of right now, you can see some crews are still on the scene working on hot spots. Behind me, there are still some flames going up, and the St. Paul fire crews were sent here to the barn on Champoeg Creek Lane a little after 4 this morning. Shortly after arriving on the scene, there was an explosion, and that's when a St. Paul firefighter was injured. He was airlifted to OHSU and is in critical condition. Several neighboring departments responded to the fire, and as of right now, the cause of that fire is still under investigation. Again, the firefighter is in critical condition, and we're expecting to learn a bit more about the situation a little this afternoon. Brenda?
Whatever happened, it was massive. Keep us updated. Christelle Kumwe reporting live in St. Paul. Thank you. Okay, before we get to some of the other news of the day, we do want to talk about your weather forecast and show you the view from our Wells Fargo Skycam. We are socked in with clouds, but Rod, you say this afternoon is drying out for us.
Yes, we've had very little rain, I would say, since we got past 9 o'clock this morning. The cloud deck is going to start thinning. I can't promise everybody's going to get a little bit of sunshine, but I think if you're out and about, you'll get the idea that the skies are trying to break up a little bit for us. So clouds still generally kind of spilling down, and we have, in fact, some traces of rain over the Coast Range and up around Astoria, but otherwise, in the mountains, or the valley rather, it's dry, and as I mentioned, it has been for a while. A little brightness, but otherwise overcast down on Newport. You can tell by the flat water that winds down Uquinta Bay are pretty light, southwest at 7, 46 degrees. Clouds over downtown, but again, we haven't had any moisture for a while. Don't expect we're going to get any more today. We are at 47 degrees. Those temperatures will try to get up to around 50 in some areas. Now remember, we still have a weather system bringing some rain tomorrow, and then I'll get us into that weekend forecast, which still looks pretty nice. That's coming up.
I'd like to hear that. Thank you, Rod. Well, Western Washington is seeing a hopeful trend when it comes to COVID. Health officials say cases in that part of the state are going down. However, it is a different story in Eastern Washington. It's seeing a sharp rise in COVID patients needing hospital care. Here in Oregon, COVID cases are dropping. The dotted lines on this graph show the moving average, which has been going down for the last week or so. Hospitalizations are not trending down, at least not quite yet, but they do appear to be leveling off. About 1,100 COVID patients are in the hospital right now statewide. Pharmacies in Oregon and Washington are now offering free N95 masks. Yesterday, we stopped by the Fred Meyer in the Hollywood district. Customers are limited to 3 masks apiece while supplies last. Albertsons, Safeway, Costco, CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, and Walmart are also getting masks from the federal government to hand out to their customers. Well, millions of kids under the age of 5 are one step closer to becoming eligible for a COVID vaccine. Pfizer is asking for emergency authorization to use its 2-dose vaccine for that age group. At this point, it's the only age group that still can't get vaccinated in the United States. If approved, kids as young as 6 months could start getting the shot in a few weeks. But a new study finds many parents remain cautious. Just 31% say they'd vaccinate their kids under 5 right away. 29% will wait and see, while 26% say they definitely won't vaccinate their youngest children.
The COVID vaccine, if anything, is under more scrutiny than ever before, and we just haven't seen major concerns with safety of these vaccines.
One potential concern, a clinical trial found 2 doses failed to produce a strong immune response in kids between 2 and 4 years old. Only babies and toddlers, we're talking between 6 months and 2 years old, had a comparable response to older kids and young adults. An FDA advisory panel will meet on February 15th to consider Pfizer's request. Well, during the pandemic, worker shortages are impacting a lot of industries, including mental health services. And now more than ever, people need that type of care. Alma McCarty reports on the struggle to fill positions.
It's been a long couple of years. In that time, Mary Monnet says more people of all ages have realized they might need help to deal with things like anxiety, depression, addiction.
We're at, honestly, a really tough crossroads.
She explains mental health and addiction services providers like LifeWorks Northwest want to rise to meet the need. But right now, she says they're in a world of hurt.
We have this collision of increased need, lessening of the workforce, and it's just led to, honestly, a crisis in our field where we're having fewer and fewer workers to do the most critical work that's honestly life-saving work.
Monnet says mental health professionals are doing their best to keep things stable, like taking on more existing patients. But there are limits.
But imagine, you're in crisis, you need care, and we say, yeah, we'll see in 3 months.
For LifeWorks Northwest right now, compared to pre-pandemic, there are 30% fewer new people entering into the system for care because there isn't capacity to accept them. The provider employs nearly 575 people, but there are more than 90 job openings. Across the Portland area, Monnet estimates there are about 500 open jobs between the other big mental health organizations.
Pre-pandemic, we had same-day access. It was a model we used, just come on in, like we don't want any barriers. With the pandemic, we can't operate, because COVID. More, it was the workforce, right? We can't accommodate people coming in like that.
The focus now, keeping the professionals they do have while finding ways to attract new workers. Monnet says retention and hiring bonuses only go so far. While the people drawn to the profession aren't in it for the money, wages must improve.
It's all about the base. We have to get that higher so we can continue to build and to have a workforce that's sustainable, a wage that's sustainable, that lets people plan for the future.
In March, LifeWorks Northwest and other organizations will partner up through the Washington County nonprofit Vision Action Network to hold a summit to address workforce challenges.
We've always offered support, but we're trying to just get more and more creative about how do we keep the people we have engaged and supported.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
And we should clarify, for people who are in crisis, there's always somebody to talk to. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is open 24/7. The number is 1-800-273-8255, or if it's easier to remember, it's 1-800-273-TALK.